Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Deepam Rao at the Tirupuram Kundram temple in Madurai in Tamil Nadu has still not been resolved. Now, this is despite a High Court order by Justice G.R. Swaminathan. Today, a division bench of the Madras High Court was hearing that matter. They will continue to hear that matter on Monday as well. Now, the critical thing is this. The state government is challenging the order by Justice Swaminathan, even challenging whether there is a Deepathoon, which is basically a literal translation would mean a lamp pillar or the pillar on which the lamp is placed. The state's own archaeological department a few years ago had said that there is indeed a lamp pillar, and that lamp pillar is over 100 years old. It's from the Nayakar era, from the colonial period. Now, the state government's contention is that over the last 100 plus years, yes, this lamp was lit on the auspicious occasion of Kartikeya Deepam, but it was lit at a fixed place and never at the hilltop, which is where Justice Swaminathan's order had said that the lamp should be lit this year. That particular place is very close to a disputed Muslim dargah. So the contention by the state government is, why is this order breaking with convention? Whereas the Hindu side's argument, whether it's the Hindu Munani, the BJP, others who are all parties to this case, are basically saying that if the Muslim side, the dargah, has no problem and it is a court order, then why should the state government oppose? The matter will continue on Monday, but the big question, which side will the court weigh on? Now, here's how the arguments played out today at the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court. In fact, the Advocate General P.S. Raman, who is appearing for the state government, the DMK government, he argued in court that the Deepam was lit on top of the Uchipillayar temple, which is in the Tirupuram Kundram hills. This year, just like it was done last year and in fact for the last 100 years. However, one individual filed a writ petition insisting that the Deepam lighting has to happen at a different place that was identified by this one individual. He called this a private interest writ and not a public interest litigation. The AG of the state also argued that the dispute has given rise to a fundamental question whether there was a Deepathoon, or the pillar that hosts the lamp, whether such a thing exists at all. He also added that the petitioner must first establish that there is a Deepathoon where this lamp has been lit for hundreds of years, as he claims, and only then can the court order such a directive. The lighting of the Deepam on this day of Kartikeya Deepam, which is to celebrate Lord Muruga, is a customary practice. The AG further added that when the temple priests and the temple management had clearly said that the Deepam should be lit only at the Uchipillayar temple, the court cannot take a contrary view. Now, in response to this, the arguments that were put forth, Justice Jayachandran, one of the judges who was hearing the matter today, asked what is wrong in changing the place of the lighting of the Deepam. If it is on top of the hill, then there is better visibility for everyone who is on the ground and everywhere around that area. The Advocate General replied by saying that that cannot be the parameter to change a customary practice that's been in place for decades now. But the bigger question is, this is not just a legal matter, this is also turning political, because remember, the state is barely months away from elections and the Stalin government is also trying to use this to a political end, which is to try and speak to their own vote banks. Now, the question is there a revision of history that is happening on the part of the state or on the part of the petitioner in this case? Now, in a book called Tirupuram Kundram, written by sculpture research exponent L.J. Bose, which was published by the Tamil Nadu Archaeology Department, which is the department of the state government in 1981, the Deepathoon, which is the pillar that bears the Deepam, the pillar that hosts the Deepam, that is mentioned. This is by the State Archaeological Department, not by the Central Archaeological Survey of India. The book talks about the Deepathoon, which is en route to the top of the hill, which was built during the era of the Nayakars. The Nayakars ruled in Tamil Nadu much before, over 100 years ago during the colonial era. They had declared the Thoon itself belonged to the Nayakar era. On the Thoon, there is a sculpture which depicts Lord Hanuman with one of his arms raised and his face turned towards the left. The sculpture reportedly has writing saying that lamps can be lit on the Thoon, according to this book, adding that it is customary practice for Hindu faithful to light lamps on the Thoon during the month of Kartigay, and particularly on the day of Kartigay Deepam. Now, the ripples of this Kartigay Deepam row were witnessed in Parliament as well today. The matter came up and there were reactions from both sides of the political aisle. Both the BJP and the DMK are digging their heels in because it plays well to their respective political constituencies ahead of a hot political fight that's going to be the state assembly election.
One state in India has become a symbol of anti-Sanatan Dharma. Their ministers are making statements. Against Sanatan Dharma. They objected when Prime Minister was doing his duty for the Ram temple. At that time, the temple doors were shut. People were forced to approach the court to reach the temple. Even now, sir, there are lathis for the devotees. Hindus are lathi charged.
Go for a quick face-off on this. Tuin Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Selam Dharanidharan is spokesperson of the DMK. Tuin Sinha, the contention by the Advocate General, the advocate representing the state government today in the Madras High Court, was that the Deepam was always lit at the Uchipilayar temple, as has been the case for over 100 years, over 50 meters away from this dargah. He insists that a writ petition was filed by one individual. He called it a private writ petition. It has nothing to do with public interest, asking for that Deepam to be lit in a different place, different from where it had been lit for the last 100 years. The AG saying that this is not a public interest litigation, this is a private interest writ petition. The dispute gives rise to the question whether there is such a thing at all called the Deepathoon. Please respond.
Good evening, Zaka. Good evening, everybody. You know, after the very self-explanatory order of the High Court of the Madras High Court on December 1, allowing for the festival, allowing for the lighting of lamp at Deepathoon, there was absolutely no room for confusion. And this order was also reiterated subsequently on December 5 for the state government to unnecessarily act as hindrance. And, you know, of course, today the matter has reached a level where 120 members of the Hindy alliance have moved an impeachment motion, which includes, you know, Uddhav Sena. This only shows the anti-Sanatan politics and anti-Sanatan mindset of the Hindy alliance. Because like I mentioned right at the very start, the December 1 court judgment was very explicit. There was no room for confusion. And besides, if you look at the history of the DMK in Tamil Nadu, whether it was calling for the desecration of Hindu Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, all of their ministers have been openly, siding with obstructionists over here, which there was absolutely no room for. So in this situation, obviously, we stand with the devotees. The devotees have every right to go ahead. And like I mentioned, you know, what happened subsequently is a matter of grave concern, which is 120 members of parliament calling for impeachment motion,
let me ask Selam Dharanidharan about this. Just because one particular judge has given an order that is not favorable to you, Dharani, you can't move an impeachment motion against that judge. I mean, there are numerous unfavorable judgments that the central government receives, other state governments receive. The answer to that is not to remove the judge. A judge can only be removed either for financial misconduct or any other form of misdemeanor. There is nothing against Justice Swaminathan, and you have got the signatures of 100 plus opposition MPs to remove a judge who's given you one unfavorable judgment.
See, I think this has to be separated from this verdict. So there are three issues in this matter. First is the impeachment process initiated by the party. And second is where the Deepathoon should be lit. And third is the verdict given. The first is, let's come to the impeachment. The impeachment is not just for this verdict, but also how the justice has been behaving in the last 3 years. In fact, way back in 2024, advocate of Madras High Court had already filed a contempt petition against the same justice, or 38-page document, and the same justice, he himself heard his own contempt petition, and 8 retired justice came and said what he's doing is morally wrong. And similarly, my party has submitted a 40-page document to the Chief Justice of India in August. In fact, he's been sharing platforms with BJP and RSS ideologue, which is not a problem. But in those platforms, he's been ridiculing ideologies opposite to that of BJP. Sitting in the bench, he has called for non-Brahmins are not fit to
No,
be.
Dharani, I'm
he's-
asking a simple question. A judge can be impeached only if there is evidence of financial misconduct or any kind of other misdemeanor, sexual, otherwise, etc. Do you have any proof of such behavior by Justice Swaminathan? Just because he has a political ideology or has a point of view, that doesn't make it impeachable.
See, he says, he talks about capacity also, right? So a judge who is not impartial, or rather a judge who is partial. Why is he partial? Because he has a strong ideological bias, cannot have the capacity to deliver right justice. The point to note, for a justice to have any discrimination based on race, creed, culture is not acceptable. When he has that, then how can he deliver proper justice?
No,
That's
no.
the point.
In this judgment's instance, what was the discrimination? Even the Dargah committee has said. Even the Dargah committee has said that go ahead and light the Deepam on Kartikeya Deepam.
No. I think if you read his report properly, on the page number 7, he says the Dargah committee has no problem. Not page 4, page 7, para 7, he says Dargah committee has no problem. In para 40, he says that the Dargah committee has not accepted. So this discrepancy in his own order. But leave that aside. When I started, I told you this is not just for this verdict, but because how this justice has been behaving over a period of time. In fact, this same
now
justice
come to the
has told, I don't believe in
lighting.
the Constitution. You're not letting me speak. Zaka, important point.
Okay.
This is very important for my argument, substantiate. He has clearly said that the Constitution has to be revisited now because the demography of this country has changed. The same justice is there. I can send you the video also. You can play it in your channel. How a justice who doesn't believe in Constitution or calls for change in Constitution, we don't believe that he can give justice. So don't couple both. If you
Sir, there have been 100 plus amendments to the Constitution. Doesn't mean that all of those amendments are anti-constitutional or the people who move those amendments are anti-constitutional. Anyway, come to the moot point. There has been a judgment that's been given that they can light the Deepam. The Dargah committee does not have a problem. The people of that temple don't have a problem. The locals there, the bhakts there, the faithful there want to light the Deepam, and it's happening on one day, that of Kartikeya Deepam. Why does the state government have a problem?
It is not true. See, each temple in this country is different. There are some temples where you give goats and everything, and some temples are vegetarian, right? So even this temple's culture for the last 200 years, even before Justice Party came into force, the Deepam has been lit only in the Uchipalya temple. Now what is the problem? Why are you creating? The people do not want it. That's wrong. People do not want it. Temple administration does not want it. The devotees do not want it. It is one party which has a template like they did in the 90s in north of India, where they wanted to use religious divide to create communal disharmony and thereby win election. That is the template they want to follow in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Which is why my party did not implement.
Tuhin Sinha, the government's argument is that the court does not have power to issue direction. It cannot be used to change customs, saying that the original plea by one individual, not by a group of individuals, not by the faithful who are praying there, as the DMK spokesperson said, they don't seem to have a problem where it is particularly lit. But one individual moved a private interest writ petition. The Madras High Court has asked today to the State Government's Council, what's the problem in lighting the Deepam where it was lit over the last many hundred years?
You know, Chaka, if the state government has a problem with the decision of the Madras High Court judge, it needs to approach a higher court. It cannot make a random statement that over the last 3 years all of his judgments were flawed and therefore we are moving the impeachment motion. This basically reeks of malified intent. Did they approach a higher court for a stay on the Deepam festival? They did not. They arbitrarily they halted it, which has been a trait of the DMK party. But when it comes to appeasement,
they are not saying stop lighting the lamp. They are saying the place where the lamp is being lit should continue to be the same. It should not be this new place which one petitioner has argued for, which the court has agreed to, which is very close to a disputed dargah. That's the contention. They're not saying don't light the lamp.
No, that again is for community members to decide. That is not for the DMK government. That is not for the state government to decide. If the majority of the Hindu community members feel that that is the present position where it was being lit is the right position, the DMK does not have a right to interfere. Now, coming again to the political point, look at these parties. Mark these parties who have moved the impeachment motion. Samajwadi Party, which is a history of anti-Hindu behavior, whether it was killing the car sevaks. DMK, which has been, shouting left, right, and center, warning for the annihilation of Hindu Dharma. Uddhav Sena, which over the last few years has taken an openly anti-Hindu position, even opposing the Waqf Amendment Act. And Congress Party, of course, where Rahul Gandhi openly says he's fighting against Shakti. It is the behavior of these parties which makes their conduct seem very, very malified.
Okay.
And obviously, like I said, the only way...
Dharani, respond to that. Basically, he's saying that all the India bloc parties are anti-Hindu. The DMK is an anti-Hindu party. Of course, the famous quote of your Deputy Chief Minister saying that Sanatan is like a mosquito and it needs to be extinguished. That's what your Deputy Chief Minister said. They're citing a number of instances where DMK has said anti-Hindu things.
But who is Tuhin Sinha, the BJP or the RSS Chief Mohan Bhagat or the Prime Minister to decide who is a Hindu and who is not a Hindu? Who are they representative of the Hindu community? No, in Tamil Nadu, BJP standalone, the vote share is less than 4%. Tamil Nadu is 90% Hindu. So are they better representative of the Hindus in Tamil Nadu or the DMK which has legitimacy of the people? This is very clear. And who says that devotees wanted? No, I'm not saying devotees wanted. In fact, this temple is the global example for religious harmony. On the foothills of the same temple, both Hindus and Muslims have shops. In fact, when the Deepam is lit in the Uchipilaya temple, even the Muslim brothers come. I don't think most people who come and speak on the channel on behalf of BJP even know this fact that such religious harmony can exist. Right? So who is the representative for Hindus? The problem? Who is the BJP to call others as anti-Hindu?
The same logic can be asked, who is Udayanidhi Stalin to say that Sanatan is like a mosquito and needs to be extinguished?
Yeah, I had been on the same debate for you. I've clearly explained. It's also clarified. I've also written editorial, and the point is, we are not against Hinduism, but we want equality within the Hindu religion, which is why my party brought in a legislation by which we want people of all castes to become priests. To become priest, right? When the former president Ramnath Kovind went to Puri temple, he was not allowed to enter because of his caste. This kind of discrimination, what we are against. When we are speaking against that aspect, was only asking for equality. DMK is not against Hinduism or any religion. My chief minister has made it profoundly clear that we are not against any religion, but we are only
tomorrow, if the High Court, on Monday, if the High Court orders that yes, Justice Swaminathan's order was right and the Deepam needs to be lit, where that order said it should be lit, DMK is okay with it? You just said you're not anti-Hindu, no?
You see, I don't want to deliberate on something that's sub judice. What if anything can happen? If it's also possible the Supreme Court can reprimand G.R. Swaminathan. So I can ask that if they reprimand G.R. Swaminathan, will he resign? So let's not go into the ifs and buts.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. Dharani and Tuhin Sinha, we'll hopefully be in touch with you on Monday. The hearing will continue and hopefully we'll get an order from the division bench of the Madras High Court. I want to move on to the Luthra brothers, the repatriation.